Welcome to our Communal Conversations. I'm Erica Middleton.
Hey everybody, I'm Cynthia Wheeler, and we are graduate assistants in the Office of the Dean of the Chapel. So just so excited tonight. This is our final installment of Communal Conversations for the semester. We have another great panel of students who are here to talk to us about just how this year and this pandemic has affected them spiritually, mentally, emotionally, all of that. And they have obviously a lot to say. But we want to just remind you all to please be safe. Please be with us in the comments. We want to keep this a safe space and we want to make everyone feel comfortable. So if you have comments, please leave them in the comment section for us. If you have questions, if you just want to, give these students some encouragement, throw it in the comments. But remember, we just want to stay respectful of everybody in the area. So now what we're going to do is we are going to introduce our wonderful panel of chapel assistants.
Yes.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ruby Avery. I'm a junior public relations major, Spanish minor from Connecticut.
Hi, everybody. My name is Simone Rice. I am a junior health science major, psychology minor from Richmond, California.
Hello, everyone. My name is Glenn Vaux. I'm a senior architecture major from Memphis, Tennessee.
Hi, everyone. My name is Chantel Williams. I am a junior health science major, political science minor from Atlanta, Georgia.
Amen. Welcome, everyone. We're so glad to see all your faces, all of our chapel assistants who we love and miss dearly. So right now I'm going to invite everybody to have a moment of prayer with us. And if everybody could center themselves and bow your heads. Gracious God, we invite you into this space today. We thank you for what you've done. We thank you for what you continue to do in the life of Howard University, in the life of our students, in the life of our faculty and staff members. Please continue to watch over, guide, and direct our steps. Please continue to afford us safety and protection as we continue to experience this unprecedented pandemic, as we continue to experience social unrest, and as we continue to experience having virtual classes. Please be with our students as we continue to enter into this time of final exams and this time of final papers. Please allow us to finish all the assignments that we laid before us. Thank you for what you've done, and thank you for what you continue to do. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I just want to shout out in the comments. It is good to see Erica back.
It's good to be back, everyone.
It's really happy to have Erica back with us.
Glad to be back.
Okay, so we are going to go ahead and get started in this conversation. I just want to do a quick check-in with the students. Can you all tell us just in general, what are you feeling right now as we are entering final season? We're done with Thanksgiving. How are you feeling right now? Let's start with Ruby, sorry.
Right now, honestly, I'm feeling a little bit relieved. I just finished 2 of my finals and I have about 3 more left this week. So just getting 2 of them out of the way has been a big relief. And honestly, this semester has been one of the more challenging ones, so I'll feel really relieved after this week is through too.
Excellent. What about you, Glenn?
I think I'm feeling relieved as well. It feels weird because it doesn't feel like the end of finals like it normally would. So I'm just kind of get adjusted to not having class responsibilities to do and what I'll be able to do once I have free time.
Chantel, what's going on with you over in Georgia?
I am not feeling relieved. I am just a little stressed. I have 4 finals to do this week. So, I'm stressed, but I know I can do it. So I'm not relieved, just a little stressed. Yeah.
And Simone, of course, certainly last but not least.
I'm kind of a mixture of everybody, what they said. Definitely relieved, but also like what Glenn said, it doesn't feel like finals or school. Like this whole semester just hasn't felt normal. It's just been completely abnormal. But I only have 2 final tests this week, so I feel good about them. But at this point, I'm just ready to get it over with. I just don't. I feel confident in myself and all of my abilities, but I'm not gonna give myself any more time to stress about it because it's just been too much actually to get it over with. If that makes any sense.
That makes a lot of sense. And Simone, what you said, this semester has been kind of abnormal. It's been different. I kind of want to ask a question based on that. So, how has this transition to virtual learning been for you all this semester? Do you think it's impacted you positively, negatively? Have you felt more prepared since we had the spring semester? It went virtual, but do you feel like this semester you felt more prepared in virtual learning? And I guess we can start with Chantel.
At first it was a difficult transition, but I don't know, I've gotten used to virtual classes, so I know that next semester will probably be like my best semester with online classes. Just depending on the professor, it just depends on how they use their technology and how they adapt to online classes. That's how I succeed. If they succeed, I'll just put it that way.
That's fair. That's really fair. How about you, Ruby?
I would definitely agree with it depends on the professor, because virtual fatigue, for one, is definitely a thing. There's definitely an exhaustive component to being virtual all the time, then hosting virtual events, things like that, especially if you're involved with a lot of other things on campus. And so having professors that are really structured has helped me a lot just to make sure that I'm keeping on track with everything I have to do. And it's also interesting for me because as a public relations major, there are a lot of PR firms that you can work from anywhere. So it's given me that ability to kind of see what it will be like for me in the real world from that aspect.
Great. Thanks for sharing. Does anybody else want to jump in on that question, or should we move?
I would just say that doing this in my last year made it a lot smoother transition. I couldn't imagine doing this my first year in college and what that would be like. So I do miss being able to, if I needed to get something from someone, being able to go to them physically on campus and the immediacy of being in person. But the virtual learning was, it was a smooth adjustment. I didn't have that hard of a time.
And so speaking of that, Glenn, I do want to ask you all about, obviously this is a very different year. You're not on campus with each other. How hard has it been for you all to kind of make new connections on campus that you usually would have, or maintain the ones that you actually already have? And let's start with Simone.
I would say it's been difficult. And my biggest obstacle I would feel as if is just the time difference, because I live in California. With school, everything is 3 hours up. So if I'm calling somebody like at 12 and they're like, okay, like I'm, doing something, or if I'm calling them at 5 o'clock my time and it's like, Simone, I'm about to eat dinner, or if it's 9 o'clock my time, it's like, Simone, it's dark outside. Like I'm asleep, go to bed. So I think it's interesting and it's different. And I also think that like how you said, like the new connections, I feel as if my first 2 years in college, I was able to have like my first friend group, like freshman year, and then like I was able to expand and like by coming into different organizations and different clubs and stuff like this. And it's like I was not able to do that at all. So I think kind of like how Ruby said, I was able to expand my network slowly over the course of the semester, but it definitely wasn't as rapid as it would be in person, like how Glenn was talking about.
Absolutely. And I mean, I know that has to be a big change. You're now 3 hours behind everybody that you're supposed to be, in line with. What about you, Chantel?
The question is about the social aspect of school now. I mean, it's a little depressing. It's a little sad not to see your friends and hang out with them. But at the end of the day, I still talk to I really text my friends every day. Let's be honest. Like I talk to them every day, so it's not that different. But I look forward to the day we're back on campus so I can have fun with my friends. But it's been okay. I'm okay.
I think that's awesome. I mean, I think technology definitely has provided a good, cushion for us, especially having to isolate. Erica, do you have anything that you would want to say about that and about connecting with students?
I've really seen that this semester has been a challenge for a lot of our students, especially our student leaders. Just wanting to be a part of student organizations and, trying to get out the word of student organizations. I know we work with the chapel assistants, the organization everybody's in here. So we've been hosting virtual meetings and virtual gatherings for our students every Friday at 5 p.m. on Zoom. But we have seen the challenge in getting everybody together and maybe staying connected with our students. So just kind of an offshoot of that, have you guys leaned in on your Howard community or your chapel assistants community in this time? Maybe a lot of you all are friends with your CAs and enjoy spending time with them. But have they really helped get you through this time? I know Chantel kind of shared on that, but how about you, Glenn? Do the CAs really help you?
Yes, the CCA has probably been the only thing that I've done to stay connected with the Howard community since we've gone virtual. So being able to get onto the meetings and to see people has really been helpful for me. And I think it's really been great this year because other alums from past years have also gotten on to the CA call. And they miss chapel assistants and seeing Dean and the GAs and other CAs just as much as everyone else that's currently in it. So it's been good for them to come back and meet the new CAs and the current CAs and tell them what they're doing after college. So it's really been helpful to come back and see people that I usually see every day, but seeing them once a week is always a big deal because we're getting to do this again.
I really agree, and I really appreciate that reflection. Definitely over homecoming, I know we had a lot of CAs come back for our virtual alumni mixer, and they were able to share their stories and their experiences with the undergrads, and that was really, really good for everyone. So yeah, it's been a great experience.
I definitely think that was a touching experience, watching you all kind of just kind of engage. I think that's the one thing that's really special about Howard is that there is this big, huge network. You're never not a part of Howard once you've been a part of that community. And so, we see this stretch and we see how generations, I think we had somebody come back literally from the founding year. So literally from 1994 all the way to 2020, you all can have this conversation. And there's still this connection of, I can help you. We can have a conversation and move ourselves, forward as a unit. And I know that also happens. We're not obviously on campus, but now you guys are back home with your families. What? Yeah. Okay. I know this might be a tougher one. If you don't want to answer, it's all right. But how's it been with the family as well? Having to kind of consider that intergenerational thing now that it's not just you really have to focus on everybody. How's that been for you all? Ruby?
Well, I have been living with an 8-year-old boy for the past few months, for this whole semester actually, and that is definitely a challenge. At first, he was doing, online schooling too, and it's really hard. Like, I know for us as college students, it's really hard to be virtual, but for kids that are way younger and have a shorter attention span, like they don't want to sit there and they don't think it's real school. So it was really difficult to try to get him on class and then also be in my class. So even like living with him and has really taught me to be patient kind of because I just haven't really thought about like just being on a college campus, like you just wrapped up in that. And so living with him and his mom, like it's really that balance of like cooking and cleaning and like making sure that everything at home is like taken care of too, as well as classes. So there's definitely more obligations. But I've enjoyed it for the most part, I guess.
I think that's very true. I know some of us are dealing with like very, very young students who are trying to do like second grade at the same time. That's hard. And, it's like, how do you kind of explain, to your family, how do you work within that family dynamic to say, I can't be 100% here, as a child or as a caretaker because I have to be here for school as well. That definitely is tough. Does anybody else have any kind of like intergenerational stuff going on they have to navigate now? Simone, maybe not.
I mean, kinda. I'm the youngest, but I think it's interesting on coming back into my home because I hadn't been home since August of last year. So it was like I didn't come back for Thanksgiving last year. I was barely back for Christmas. So I think it was like the first time I had been home for a long time in March. And I'm the baby of the family. My sister is 9 years older than me. So I think it's more so my family getting used to the fact that I'm not like I'm the youngest, but I'm not a child anymore. And I think it's that clash of like your college self with like your old self in your old world, if that makes any sense, which happens, but it happens for like a summer break or for a winter break. And then you back on campus right back to where you was insulated and not necessarily insulated, but in your world. So I think it was just that just juxtaposition of the two things going on for me. But it's not as taxing and challenging, I'm sure, as like Ruby talked about with the 8-year-old, because I couldn't imagine. I just don't know. I don't know how she does it.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that, Simone. I know it's different when you come home from school, having that relationship with your parents or your family. And this semester has really created some challenges, I know, with dynamics. Even if they're not, extreme, we do change a bit when we go to school and come back. So, experiencing that with our family can be tough, but I'm glad you've been able to work through that. I just wanted to remind everyone that we have this amazing panel before us here, and we are open for questions for the students. So if you have any questions you would like to ask these students, how they're dealing with the pandemic, how they've been dealing with social unrest, how they've been doing with virtual classes, please ask them in your social media platforms, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and we'll post them and have the students answer them. So now I believe we're going to go to a brief interlude for our students. Cynthia, do you have anything you'd like to add on to that?
Yeah, I was going to say, students, get your water, because once we come back, we're going to ask you some more questions. And if you're in the audience, go ahead and get your questions ready for these awesome students. Okay, and we're ready for our interlude.
Amen. Welcome back.
Yes, I can see that we already have some great questions in the chat. And I know Erica and I have some more questions for you, but let's actually get to some of these audience questions first. Can we actually pull up Inez's question? What is the hardest part about online classes for you all, and how have you adjusted to them? Let's start with Chantel. I know you talked about your teachers and their successes.
Yeah, I think the hardest part about hey Inez. I think the hardest part about online classes is not the actual class per se. It's just sometimes our professors don't know how to use Blackboard or Zoom, so we have a lot of technical difficulties. And also, some professors are not as easygoing when it comes to our technical issues, so that's definitely one of the biggest problems I face. I guess being sympathetic to all of our situations as far as like, oh, if your Wi-Fi is out, or my power went out one day and I couldn't turn in an exam. So like that's one thing that wouldn't happen if I was on campus and in class. So that's some of the hardest part, the technical difficulties.
I can definitely understand that. I think technical difficulties have definitely, I mean, it's even plagued Erica and I, and, you know, we're in the graduate school, like it's so difficult. And then on top of that, you also have students who, you know, they have not just the teachers not knowing what to do, but the students having their own, like you said, their own personal difficulties with Wi-Fi, with, you know, a stable place. I think that actually might bring up another good question from Rev Anna, and says, if you're sharing a workspace and resources with your parents and your family members, I mean, how are you all managing that? Because your resources, oh, Simone, I might have to call on you just because of that face. How's it been sharing your resources?
I mean, I guess the biggest resource is just the Wi-Fi, because I was like, Mom, like this was last semester, and I told my mom, I said, Mom, the Wi-Fi is just not workless, it's just not going. And she's like, what do you mean? And I was like, I disconnected, reconnected, I prayed over it, I did all of this, and it just wasn't working. And I think we all realized that, like, well, we are all working online. And so I think it's that, and we've just, you know, made the financial investments to make sure that that is taken care of as much as possible. But I think it's also just space in general. We live like an apartment, so we're all really on top of each other. But I think even if we lived in a like house, it would still be very claustrophobic over time, because we just don't have our own space. Like they're used to going into the office, my mom, my sister, and I'm used to, you know, being on campus. So I think the biggest commodity is space, and just physical space and mental space. So
So I know some of you have asked and have talked about the struggles that you've been facing with the Howard teachers and how you've been dealing with things as students. But I've been wondering, as a university, do you feel like Howard has adequately taken into account your physical, your mental, your spiritual well-being during this time? Or do you have any tips or different ways you believe that the university could help better address these needs? Let's ask Glenn first.
Personally, I feel like the university's been making a good effort to account for all of those things. And the reason I say that is because I would get a little annoyed by all the emails that would be coming from the university about every little thing. They were like, you know, we got this thing for you and all this. I'm just like, all right, you can just slow down on the emails. But I know that there are probably students, especially first year students, who have a lot of questions about Howard and about the way things work in college. We need those resources. And then especially the chapel doing things like this. I've seen the chapel, I guess, expand its outreach to students, and the way, I guess, bringing people in and allowing them to have their voice heard. And it's really hard for a school like Howard, with as many students as we have, to do that, to make everyone feel welcome and comfortable, and that everyone has a voice. But I think so far that the university has been doing a good effort in trying to do that, and the different entities throughout the university have also been doing a good job.
That's very true. The university has, sent a lot of emails through HU Communications. They've sent a lot of resources about
Too many emails.
Too many emails. I know a lot of students would say that they don't even read their emails after a while. It just gets so daunting. But I'm wondering if any of the students have made use of any of the resources they've seen that HU Communications, talks about. Have any of you all made use of any of those? Well, if not,
Y'all
I mean,
pretty comfortable.
I know they're there.
Yeah, they're pretty prepared, I guess.
They're pretty prepared. You guys are doing well during your college experience. I know we have a lot of juniors and seniors in this place, so maybe in your age, you guys have been able to, take a hold of all the things that have been thrown against you. So that's good. That's really good.
One thing I have been excited to see in HU Communications, and obviously as a part of Chapel staff, is those communications about the Wellness Collective, because I think the Wellness Collective is one of those resources that, the Chapel as an entity of Howard obviously has just put on, that's aimed really at helping support students at this time. I know the last guest we had was actually Dr. Hobson, from the Divinity School, and he had just a wealth of knowledge. And one thing he shared that was really interesting to me, or that has just been stuck in my mind, is that he said that we tend to stay with the unpleasant because we would rather be unpleasant than be in the unknown. And so I know this year has been just crazy and, crazy back and forth for you all. How have you all been navigating the unknown, or what has been helpful for you all in navigating just this territory as you move forward? Let's start with Chantel.
Personally, what helps me, and I've had schedules before, but I feel like this semester I really stuck to a rigid schedule of like prayer, exercise, schoolwork, free time, and I just make sure I include that on a weekly basis. But I also have learned throughout this whole experience just to be grateful, because honestly, none of us have to be here, if that makes sense. It's just really taught me to be grateful for all my experiences, just grateful to be in school at all. Just be grateful. And yeah, that's what's helped me.
Wow. I feel that being grateful is it's a tough one actually when you sit down and think about it. But yeah, it can definitely be tough. Ruby, what have you been doing that's been particularly helpful for you?
I have definitely been trying to incorporate, the pleasant into my unpleasant, because everything right now, I guess, is kind of, I don't want to say chaotic, but there was a lot going on this semester between the election and everything leading up to it. And then just being in school, it was just a really wild semester. And so when you don't really know where to go or anything like that, I think for me, what helped was trying to establish a routine and like some things that I knew would like kind of calm me down and bring me back to like the present type thing, whether it's just, having a cup of tea or just things to like physically engaging in things like going for a run and like moving my body kind of helps me to just like kind of clear my mind, I guess, of everything chaotic that's happening around me. So doing things like that, I think, it helps me so that when I go into the spaces where it is more chaotic or try to be productive, I can be more focused.
Wow. Thank you, Ruby. I really like how you shared different things that work for you, whether it be going for a walk or whether it be drinking tea. I know we can all have practical things that help us in our day-to-day lives to just, help get us through or keep us centered. I did want to go back to a question that somebody had posted. I believe it's Inez. I know Glenn talked a little bit about how it can be difficult for students to transition into this virtual space, and maybe how a lot of those difficulties arise. But I know Inez has asked, what tips would y'all give to incoming freshmen that they can take their first semester of online classes, or their first semester of college classes online? And we can ask Chantel.
Honestly, the best tips I could give is make sure you're not in bed taking class, because I did that when we got home last semester, and I could see that just wasn't going to work out. I was way too relaxed. I was like not really paying attention. I really needed to be sitting at a table or at a desk, so it simulates what you would do in class. I guess another tip is just to, not even just for class, but just for social life, make sure you're like following people on Twitter, in group chats, I don't know, on group me texting people. Just, I don't know, make sure you're having fun, even though you're at home. Make sure you're connecting with other people at Howard, because that's important too.
Absolutely. The connection at Howard is unparalleled, and, still building these connections virtually is so important. How about Simone? Do you have any tips for freshmen who have had to take their classes online?
Yeah, I'm going off of what Chantel was saying in the part of her statement of being connected as much as possible. So I'm president of California Student Association, or Cali Club, and we've had a lot of kids just feel very disconnected given the distance and the time difference, and that just increases the distance. So we've tried to have as many events as possible, just making sure that we're active in our group meets, checking up on people, doing check-ins, and actively throughout the semester making sure that they were good. And even if nobody in our circle could help them in what they're talking about, whether it's school related or organizationally related, that we connected them to those resources. So I would say, like, in addition to being active on social media and just like talking to people in a platonic way, but also being involved in organizations as well, because I think it also gives you purpose and something to do outside of class that could also be fun and engaging, and also serve as that ability to connect with people as well.
Absolutely. The connection is just so key and so important. Do any of you all have any other tips that you'd like to share? Maybe Glenn or Ruby?
Yeah, you can join Chapel Assistance. I heard it's a great organization. And I guess expand the physical campus. I know we can't be at Howard physically, but if you know some people in your hometown that might also be doing virtual classes, either at Howard or they could be doing it for another school, you could probably safely meet and form a study group, or you could do study groups virtually. And I guess take the classroom out of the computer or off of the physical campus and kind of reimagine what the campus could be while we're virtual.
Absolutely. I think those are all great tips. And honestly, I wish I had a few of them at the beginning of my semester, because I like class in your bed is definitely very comfortable. I think that one thing I can surely say, though, about this pandemic is, and just 2020 in general, is that it has really, really made us take a hard look at our lives and what we're trying to do, right? I want to know if this situation, this life has basically changed the way that any of you all are approaching the careers that you're going into. How's that really changed you? How's this year changed that, what you're looking to do? And Chantel, I'm going to start with you. I'm sorry, I think we're starting with Chantel a lot, but it's okay. She can do it.
I feel like you're calling me out. I have changed my career path. Just based on seeing the health disparities and the health disparities within the African American community and Brown communities, I've decided to focus more on public health, and I plan on becoming a public health attorney. So that's what my plan is now. So I have changed a lot. This pandemic even though it's had very negative impacts, it has had a positive impact on my life, kind of weirdly. Yeah.
Absolutely. Anybody else? Ruby, yeah, go ahead.
I would like to add, well, even if we look at like the beginning of 2020, like back when Kobe died, that was a moment too that really emphasized how important communications is, because when there's so much miscommunication, discommunication, and people just don't know what's going on, a bad situation just gets worse. So I know that kind of solidified things for me, and being able to be a communications practitioner and like wanting to, give the truth to people and say and just kind of calm people that way, I guess, and having that power with mass communications. But yeah, I guess that's what that has done for me.
No, that's excellent. I mean, literally from communications all the way to health, people are like, something has to really, it really solidifies and does things for us. Does anybody else have any changes, or you guys are just like, nah, I knew what I was doing?
I haven't. It didn't change or alter any of my thinking, but it more so reinforced some ideas I may have had early in my college career that I may have forgotten and not thought much about, of wanting to be an institution builder. One thing the pandemic has really reminded people of is how important institutions are to people and to communities. And so when we had to go virtual, it's like we were clinging to any way we could to Howard or to any social group or community group that we are a part of or that we want to be a part of. So it reinforced the ideas of how I want to use my career to be a citizen to my local community and then also a citizen of the world.
That's excellent.
Wow,
I
that's
mean,
so powerful.
that is. I think that's, that's really what we came here tonight to talk about. Like, it's this is a different world that we're living in and that we're going to re-enter once this pandemic is over. I know that it's about 7:40, and I know that we all have finals to study for and papers to write. But I want to say thank you to each of these panelists for coming out tonight and having this conversation with us. I know I was called old last week for saying this, but I really do get excited about my future when I talk to you guys, because it's just what you all are bringing to the table and what you all are going to bring to the world outside of Howard is just, it's amazing and it's inspiring. Thank you to obviously the wonderful chapel staff, to Dean Richardson for allowing us to be here tonight. Erica and I know both have a great time being up here together.
So
Thank
fun.
you. Thank you to everybody who tuned in to watch. And if you haven't watched the other Communal Conversations, please go back and check. Okay, go back and check on the chapel page for any chapel services, any wellness collective that you've missed. You can go back and watch it on our pages. We will be happy to have you. And so thank you all for coming out tonight. And we will see you next semester.
We love you all. Please be safe and socially distanced and masked up. And take care of yourselves. Take care of yourselves physically, emotionally, and mentally, as well as spiritually. So thank you all so much. Bye.